In this session, we're going to discuss service packages. So again, from my home ribbon, I went to Setup, brought up my little setup here, typed in the word work in my search box, brought up my work order setup. So services are going to be the actual jobs. Now again, you're going to have a series of jobs that are already in here. And typically in each category, you're going to have a general service type service. You may have a diagnosis type service. And then you're going to have more specific services. In other words, they're going to be tied to specific items. Okay. So let's go discuss how these are kind of made. I'm going to go back over to the oil lube maintenance. And we're going to take this one service here and let's kind of break it down. So here we have an oil change. That's our header, our title, and then we have a little description. It's just a generic description. Okay. We have a labor line, oil, and a filter. Now, typically your material lines, if it's something specific, is going to have what we call a definition. So let me open this up by double clicking. So you're going to see what we call a definition in here. This definition is telling the system what this line should be and what to look up. Now where this is utilized is in two main places. Number one, if I'm in a work order and I jump to my inventory, it's going to bring this definition across and look for anything in the inventory with a matching definition. This definition is also used for your online catalogs or online supplier connections. So if I go down here and look up criteria, depending on the style of catalog that I'm going to, it's telling it what to go look for. That way you do not have to go and constantly type in a search. It'll do it for you. Now there are a couple of these that you can change in here. It's called override. If I do that, I do have the capability of overriding ePart, Expert, Napa, or CarQuest. In other words, I can change what it's searching for. Typically, you're not going to use this very often, but sometimes you might want to go in and maybe change up the details a little bit on how it searches. And we'll cancel out of here. So I want to show you how this works before we get into building a package here. Okay. Now there is a third thing that the definitions will do for you. That typically is going to have to do with your fluids. So here we have a definition for engine oil. What this is going to do is this is going to trigger the system to tell you the capacity and the recommended viscosity for the particular vehicle you're working on. So let's go over to a work order and see how this works. Go over to my test work order here. Now here I have this blended oil package on. Now, you notice on my engine oil, it states 5W30 4 quarts. How would it know that? Well, step one, when we entered the vehicle, the cataloging box is checked. In other words, it recognized the vehicle. As soon as it sees this definition appear, it reaches out to this utility, fluid capacities. So this particular vehicle holds 4 quarts of oil. There's our recommended viscosity. And then it brings that back to the ticket so you know what you're looking for. Now it's not going to tell you which brand or what type. It's just letting you know viscosity and capacity. Typically this is also going to give you coolant. It's going to give you sometimes power steering fluid type of brake fluid, and transmission. And the first time you utilize this, it will not know the transmission. You'll need to tell it. And there will be occasions where maybe you need to make a choice between something. Sometimes on coolant, if you have, just front heat or front and rear heat, might be different capacities here. And once in a while, you might have a different type of capacity on oil. So that's one of the major things that a definition does. Now on the oil filter, for example, I'll go back over to general here. If I were to just simply right click and jump straight to my inventory, you see it's going to search all of my inventory for anything with that definition. So when I hit search, there we go. Now I still need to know what part number I'm putting in. It does not know. I have to choose. And then I can draw it from inventory and put it on the work order. It also is utilized in the catalog lookup. So when I search my catalogs, and here I'm pulling up a couple of suppliers, see, it's immediately telling it what to search for. Now, how does it know that? Bottom right corner, the little blue arrow, see, there's my search words. That comes directly from the definition. So when I search, it knows what to look for. So that's how definitions are going to help you speed up your searches and what you're looking for in the catalogs and in inventory. Let me remove this. I'm going to delete this package. And we're going to come back and put it on again. So I'm going to hit save. There we go. Now, what else can I do in here? I can code them, I can hide them, all the other familiar things that you've been doing with concerns and inspections. I can also pre-set up pricing here. If I wish to set up a labor, for example, I can double click, open it up. Now, what do I have here? I can change description on the labor line itself if I wish. You can put anything you like. Lookup required is going to force you to go look up the labor in the labor guide. That's what that box means. Okay. Now, if you do select this, we need to make sure we have criteria. In other words, what are we looking for? So you see here, it's going to look up oil filter in the labor guide. And we'll leave that on so you can see how that works. Again, price type. I want to pre-set up pricing. I can select from whatever labor rates that I already have programmed in the system. So if I do this and I say, well, I want to charge a 0.3 at this rate, there you go. If I leave this on none, it's just going to utilize whatever the default is for that customer and or vehicle. Okay. Fixed rate allows me to do whatever rate per hour I so choose. So if I say, well, I want to charge $50 per hour, there you go. At 3/10, there's my charge. Fixed total, I set what I'm going to charge here on the labor and how much time am I invoicing. And the technician hours are what the technicians get credits, and I can even override this, so I can pay them more or less. So if you change it, you're going to see a tan box, so that's letting you know that the tech hours are different from the invoicing hours. You can pre-set up discounts here if you like. So you might charge a normal rate and maybe you want to discount it. So if I click on discount, I can do it as a percentage on that line. So if I say, well, hey, I want to do a 5% discount on the labor, there will be your total discount. It will show it separate on the work order. And I can do it as a fixed amount. I can just do a fixed dollar amount. I might say, well, I want to give, $3.50 off. And there you go. So it's going to take that 25, subtract the 350, and that will be your total. If you happen to be using line grouping, Here we can attach it to a line group. Now we'll discuss this one at a later date on how that works and how it's set up. Tags. What is a tag? Well, in the setup of your system and other charges, you might have other things that you want to charge. Maybe it's some kind of a specific fee on a labor line, things like that. So here what we can do is we can go over here and attach a tag. Now there aren't any tags in here for labor lines, so we don't have anything to select, but we will have stuff for the material lines. Formatting allows you to override the default formatting in the system. Okay, so as your system was set up, you're going to have defaults on how things are going to print on invoices. Now, if you kind of notice, you see I have labor and total. Let's just go play with the rate here. So if I click that and I hit OK, let's see if that changes. So you don't see a change, do I? Let's go do that again. Now I'm going to put a checkbox. See, now when I print the invoice, it's going to show exactly what that rate is. So this is just overriding the defaults that are set up for invoicing. And you can do this on any line. So just double click, open that back up, go to format, and then just put it back. So the black box just simply means it's using whatever the defaults are. There is a webinar that's specific to print documents, if that's something you want to get into. It goes through all of the details and also how to even create brand new documents. There we go. So you notice, we got our discount on here. When it comes to material lines, now at this point in time, if I have a very specific oil out of inventory that I want to use on this package, what I can do is I can go straight to my inventory and go look for it. So you notice, you see this is all blank. Well, maybe on this package, I just want to use a specific oil, maybe a 5W30. I go search for it. There's a 530, there's a Dexos. Now, if I want to use this specific oil, every time I do this package, I click it and I draw. So draw tells it to pull it from the inventory. It's going to pull that specific part. It's going to use my retail. There's my price per unit. Now this is just a default of 5 quarts. Now again, when I put this package on, if that vehicle holds 4 quarts, it'll switch it to 4. And then it'll be your charge. Now you do have the capability in here of overriding this stuff. None means it's going to use whatever oil I use at whatever price it is. You can preset up different price levels. You can do that. You can have a fixed rate. So a fixed rate simply means I'm charging a rate per unit. I might say, well, I want to charge $5.95 no matter how much I use per unit. It's per unit. A fixed total locks the grand total amount. Now, it doesn't matter if I'm using 1 quart, 2 quarts, or 10 quarts. It's only going to charge $30. So however much this changes doesn't matter. Another thing that you can do here, and let me get out of here for just a second. We're going to cancel this. We're not going to save it. It's called minimum charge. So I may not specifically know exactly which oil I'm using. For example, I just know I'm going to use a 530 or 520 or something like that. But I know I want to charge a minimal amount for this oil change for the oil. So you can come in here and type in a minimum. So no matter which oil I use and how much I use, I will never charge less than that amount. So that kind of guarantees that you're never going to go below that. And you can do the same thing on any other part line. Now source back here is just telling you where it's coming from. If I want to go search for inventory, I can do it here, or I can do it here. It's the same thing. Let's go look at tags. So we're going to go over here. So you see we have some tags in here. Now you might have specific tags for things. I might have a tag set up with the other charge for maybe a oil filter disposal, things like that. So if I want to add that tag to this particular line, I can click and add the tag. So I'm just adding that to that specific line. If I have tags in here and I want to get rid of them, I don't want it on this line, I just simply go back and I'm going to open it up, highlight the tag, I hit the X and that will remove it. You will always know what other charges or tags that are attached because the system will always tell you right on the work order. And these can actually be changed right on the work order on any individual line. So it doesn't matter. Formatting, again, you can format and overwrite the way it's going to print on the invoice. Now this particular line here, you see the lookup box is required, is checked. So that's going to prompt the service advisor to look it up in the catalogs. That's all it is. It's just a prompt. And again, here's my criteria. So let's go see how this works. You know, best piece of advice I can give you with this stuff, always test it. Always test it. Let's do a save. Now, I want to go test to see how this is going to look. So I'm going to go to my work orders here. Open my work order up. I'm going to go add. Go look for that blend. Select it. Add and close. Again, here's my related services. You know, do I want to add an inspection? Do I want to replace? That's a upsell. So here is my labor time that I had set, but you'll notice this is all in the purple color. Why is that? Because it's trying to prompt the service advisor to look up the labor. Here I have my oil. Now I have it priced with a minimum, but now I need to go get my oil out of inventory. And then here I need to either pull my filter from inventory or go look it up online. I have my discount. So anytime you do start to customize these packages, you might want to come in here to a work order and just kind of see how they look, if they're going to come out the way you want. We'll save that. We'll go back to this package again. Now, what if I do want a specific oil from here? Let's go do that. So I'm going to go look for that 530. I'm going to draw. So here I'm pulling it at retail. There's my retail price. Hit OK. Let's save it. Now we're going to go add it again. Go add. Pull up our blend here. Add and close. So you'll notice, see, this is already in black. So that's letting me know we've already fulfilled this line. Since we had it set up to automatically draw that specific part from inventory. And then it automatically switched the quantity to 4, because that's what this vehicle holds. So by doing it this way, I don't have to do anything once I drop it onto a work order for that particular line. So as you can see, you can take these service packages, you can leave them kind of generic. You can also make them very specific. And again, if you want to make another package, and I do get this with people, they like to make maybe a 530 package, a 520 package, whatever. Just simply click, right click, duplicate, make another package, change up the title a little bit. And you can, don't forget to code them. The other things that you're going to have to deal with here is what we call triggers. Triggers tie the service packages to the reminder items. Okay. So what is a reminder item? Again, a reminder item is something you're going to attach to a vehicle that you wish to track. In order for the system to know that you actually perform that service, it has to be tied to the item. Now, if you are making a package from scratch, it won't have anything here tying to it. So in order for me to tie it to it, I would go add reminder, and I'm going to search my reminder items. So I have a reminder items for tracking oil changes. So I'm just going to type in oil, hit search. So here's my oil and filter service reminder. I select it, I hit OK. So now I've connected this package to that reminder. That's how service packages are made.